These need to learn how to fabricate now.
We don't know how to fabricate.
Just calculate by that much.
We measured the holes.
We realized we made a mistake. Yo!
Bro!
Turned out I did have COVID.
Beep, beep, boop, beep, beep, boop, boop.
Let's do it.
Yo!
It's like where to begin, you know? Once upon a time, I was sitting in traffic and slid underneath a BMW. And from there, didn't know what to do for a while. You guys might have seen the last Miata video where we kind of pitched the game plan of making the bash bar for the Miata.
We tried to find fabricators to fabricate the bash bar / new front end that Sam had designed in SolidWorks. Most of the people that I spoke to told me it's gonna be incredibly expensive to fabricate. You know, most fabricators, you send them one part, you ask for 100 of them. Probably wouldn't be worth their time, and it would be really expensive for us. So we said, we bought ourselves a welder. We put this together last weekend. We went to the Industrial Metal Supply Company right over here in Burbank, and we got 1 3/4 DOM tubing with 0.95 wall, and we also got some sheet metal, so we'll use the sheet metal to make connecting plates here and then create tubing that would come out and create the first level of the bash bars. And we got smaller walled tubing that's actually coming from San Diego for this entire portion here, this portion that will build up off of the bash bar that will support the bumper in the future. So the actual Miata bumper will mount to that new tubing that we'll place up here once we cut all this out. So that's the game plan. Hopefully nothing explodes in our face, melts off. Hopefully we don't break anything while we're welding and cutting, and we'll see how it goes. Andy, would you draft me on your Ford 19? Yeah, I could do that. Ow. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be, bro.
We needed a flat surface to mount our pucks to that were essentially gonna be what we built the bash bar off of that would eventually support the entire subframe. And on the front of the Miata, once you remove the plastic stock bumper, there's like these like knuckles on the front. So we cut those off. I cut them off with our new angle grinder.
Here we go.
Oh shit. Are you just gonna? Cool, let's grind it down.
Buff that down.
There was a little bit of excess, so Sam had the really good idea of making like 4 slits in the corners, and we could just hammer them down.
Looks like you smacked it a little hard here. We have a little dent now.
Come on. No, I was from. It was already done like that. In like
Are
right
you
here.
sure?
Yeah. It was.
And then we started making our mounting plate. And Sam had a great idea. He was like, what if we box this? Because then we can bolt it in from the front, from the top and bottom. It was gonna be beautiful.
4 bolts, 2 bolts there. It'd be a lot of strength.
I don't
That way
think
you
that's
could literally
bad.
lift the entire car, like literally from the bar.
That's a great idea. So what we're thinking is bend, flat, bend on the bottom, and bolt into all 8 points. This will be like impenetrable. Like we'll easily be able to jack from the front of the car. This will grip onto this car like so well. It'll never go anywhere. So we're gonna try to do that. I'm gonna have to run to Harbor Freight and get a brake. I'm gonna have to run to Harbor Freight and get a brake so that we can make those bends in one sheet of metal, because that's even stronger than 3 sheets that we weld together. We'd rather have 1 sheet that just has 2 bends in it and bolt it straight on.
1 hour later.
All right, so I went to Harbor Freight, spent way too long there, but we got this 18-inch bending brake, which basically will allow us to cut a sheet out of this metal and then and then bend angles into it. So this is the template that Sam made. So our final metal piece will look something like this. Our metal piece should fit on just like this. So what we'll do now is we'll cut out a long sheet, always cut a little bit of extra metal so that we can cut back if we need it. It's better to have more than have less. And then once we have the sheet, we'll put them through our bending brake, bend in those angles that we're gonna need, slap them on the front of the Miata.
And do it twice.
Do it 2 times.
So this is our. That's
our-
the middle
our-
of the bend, or is
yeah,
that the
middle of the bend?
Here, you wanna go?
Bending brake, 1-year warranty. Put the bolts in.
Pressing plate number 3.
Is that what we put on top? Base assembly should be secured to a workbench using the mounting plates and 4 bolts.
Which they don't provide.
Which they did not give us. No, we'll just stand on it. We're not making crazy bends. They don't even screw it in.
Oh, just literally just sitting in here.
Harbor Freight, baby.
So where does this piece go? This is this piece. Where does this piece go?
I have no fucking idea what that is. Let's practice on one of these. Be bent on the supporting plate of the assembly 1 and the moving plate of the base assembly 1 and properly align with the edge to be bent up against the back edge of the supporting plate of base assembly. None of that made sense.
Oh.
So it's like this.
So that goes there.
And
then this.
That sits on top of it.
This for the control box.
Talk faster.
And so
Okay.
What's
You ready? Bend it, boy. Oh.
I might need more. Do you have another one of these?
Nope.
We start the bend. Oh, we could start the bend and then just like do it the old-fashioned way.
You mean hammer it?
No, step on it and take some pliers.
Did the stepping method work?
What? No.
Jesus.
You wanna hold this thing down?
I'm gonna try to like go. Yeah, bro.
I've seen these on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do this. Let's put a piece in there.
Hell yeah.
You don't have the proper
I'm just gonna mark.
as always.
Classic.
And I already went to Harbor Freight once to get that, so we're not going again.
Okay, ready?
Hold on. Let me get. Yeah.
Go on, bro.
Oh, yeah, guys.
Whoa!
That is money.
Feels like you should be wearing eye protection.
You want a test fit?
Yeah.
A
little too big?
A little too.
That's fine. That's okay.
We'd rather have that. 'Cause we can just shave
Let's
down.
shave it down. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Let's get our bottom going then.
This is legit.
Yeah.
We're actually doing this. Is it 90 degrees?
That's nice.
Not exactly
it's a little
90.
over.
Okay. So where do we want to mark this?
Good
now?
job, guys. That one looks really good. I'm proud of you
So
guys.
me? Just calling his ass out. I left because I hammered this side. He had a great idea. Let's make these relief notches. Just hammer it flush. I was like, great idea. I go, okay, you hammer this side. I gotta go grab my earplugs. I come back. There's like this small indentation.
That was like that.
That's what I'm saying. This didn't even get hit in the accident. This was fully flat.
Yes, it did.
Bro,
What are you
it
talking
didn't
about? Look
get
at all
hit.
this right here.
Bro, if my
Uh-huh.
plastic.
Take 3. Scene 1, take 3. Ben, clap.
All right.
Adjust the pants.
You just fix your wedge.
Honestly, good idea.
Yeah, good idea.
Bro, hold on.
Here's our template. Template in the real.
Close. Oh, it's too tall.
Oh. How did we miscalculate by that much?
Because cardboard is a 1/4 inch thick, and on each side 1/4 inch is a 1/2 inch. That's probably about that is.
Okay.
Oh, you know why this is happening?
What?
Because we're bending it to the back, and we made it big.
We
So
didn't
we're
bend it
just-
to the inside of the cardboard, essentially.
Well, that's what I was saying on the cardboard. That's why I was trying to angle it down like that. Is because you have to measure down lower. Because it's not.
Yeah. We measured from the outside,
Yeah.
basically. Because
So
of the
our
rounding
bend has
on
to
top.
start like here, and it has to bend up onto it.
Okay, let's try it.
3, 2, 1. It's just been fucking perfect. I think that was literally as perfect as it could have been. That one's bottom pretty nice. Maybe I'll just do the top again. 3, 2, 1.
We bent the pieces, and there's a little bit too much extra fat on the end of this one. So I'm just gonna grind off that little bit of extra fat real quick. Boom! All the fat's gone. Now we're gonna make sure it sits flush on both sides. Incredibly flush.
We measured the holes, or we just marked the holes for this, so we're gonna now drill a small hole and drill a big hole.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we just came back from our mid-afternoon snack / get out of the sun for a hot second, because it's been hot out here. And we got some plates on the front of the Miata here now, so basically we've created the 2 mounting points for the bash bar. So now we're gonna take our massive dom tubing and create a center point on these plates, and then create a small bar with our dom tubing to reach out to the bash bar, weld that onto the plate, and hopefully get the bash bar on all tacked together by the end of the day. That's the game plan. So we're designing this piece here that's gonna branch off of the plate, right? Basically we cut these pieces of tube off of our big tube, and we had planned to weld these here, but we realized it's impossible. We don't have any way to hold this onto our tube notcher here to make these cuts. So we realized we made a mistake, and instead we ran the long tube right here through the notcher, notched the edges first, and then we would simply take the sawzall through that end of the tube, slide the tube down, and repeat the process. So now they need a little bit of cleaning up, but we have 2 notched pieces of tube to weld onto our plates. We're gonna clean these up and try to tack them onto these plates. That means we're welding, baby. We're doing it.
The next day.
Well, good morning. It's Sunday morning. Happy Sunday to you. Yesterday, we did not get as far as we thought we would. We basically spent the whole evening welding. Sam and I, we just practiced going back and forth, and Sam both of them welded for the first time, so that was dope to be a part of. But we've figured out some settings on the welder that we like, and we've got our plates for the front of the bash bar set up, and our first piece of tubing. So this is our very first fabricated part ever. It's pretty exciting. It's also kind of stressful, but we practiced this morning too, and I think we're gonna make it happen. So we're gonna tack this down, remove the magnets, and then run a nice bead all the way around it. Here we go.
Nice. You make sure it's pretty solid. Cool.
Let's go! Done. Good job, dude. Woo! Alright, so these are the finished pieces. Yeah, so now we're gonna bolt them onto the front of the car from those same bolting points we created these plates for, and then create the bar that runs across here. It's just wild that this is happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are welding pieces together for it.
It's great.
Like, wow, what a journey this has been.
And then we got our pipe bender out, and we got a good bend in one side of the bash bar.
There we go.
Damn, bro.
Oh, yo. Bro.
Yeah, homie.
Dude, is that the angle we want?
Is that the angle? I think so.
I think that's it. How do we do that?
I have no idea. It in there?
Okay.
All right, so here's our first angle, and here's our test fit. We just put this on, and look at how fucking good that looks. Like that, if we cut this right here, we're golden.
Dude, the bumper is definitely gonna fit on this
We
thing.
kind of want the angle to sit right in line with that knuckle, so like one shot wonder. I get. We literally just went for it. Pressing.
It is 45 on the dot.
All right, so we got both bends on both sides. We test fitted it. And now basically what we're cutting is from the bend, we're giving it 6 inches. That's our cut point. That's what we think from the SolidWorks drawing that Sam did. And just from the test fit we just did now, we think that 6 inches past the bend will allow us to fit the bumper well. So we're gonna run the Sawzall through it. Next, I'm gonna lay it like so. I can adjust this.
Here, can't wait. Yeah.
Yo! And then see what opening needs to get trimmed where.
Sitting over there.
So my outside is good, my inside is very open. How's yours? Yeah,
Same
it's
here.
sitting.
Like here, where I like overlapped on the bit. See where that close like that touches into it.
Yeah.
Like up there is really where you got to file. Honestly, I think that's okay to tack.
So the end of the second day, the homies had to leave, and at the very end of the second day, I tacked on the bash bar to the puck. So at the end of the day, and the second day of fabrication, we had a bash bar on a Miata. A bash bar that could fit a bumper, which we don't think exists anywhere, so that's pretty dope. And at the end of that, I was like starting to feel really ill, and I like put my mask on because I just didn't know, you know, in the trying times we live in, I was starting to feel a little weird, and so I put my mask on so I wouldn't get Sam or Sam sick because they were here, even if it wasn't COVID. So my welds for my bash bar were rough. My hands were shaking. I was all kinds of up. But turned out I did have COVID. But that put everything on delay for like 2 weeks because you have to quarantine for, I think it's like 10 days. So that put everything back 10 days. Which pushed this whole video back 10 days, so give us some grace. We're just regular dudes out here living our lives.
So, it's a new day. Andy's here, Sam's here, I'm here. 2 weeks ago, because COVID hit hard, we finished the bash bar here. Today, we're gonna enter the point of no return. We're gonna cut the subframe of the Miata today. That'll be step one. It's the most stressful step. And then we're gonna build the bar across the top and then create our connecting rods to our lower bash bar. So yeah, cutting is step one, so.
Has you ever actually seen a whale close?
Yeah, saw some humpback whales.
You know what's actually scary in a whale? Whales don't actually scare me very much.
Whales are not that scary.
You know what scares me?
They scare me.
F***ing moose.
Moose? Bro, I went down a YouTube rabbit hole one time.
Did you?
Yeah, moose destroying. Well, you know, this is just stressful because it's like, I'm literally cutting my car. So if anything goes wrong.
First step was handing Sam the Sawzall and telling him to go nuts.
Oh shit!
Did I just hit you in the face?
No, you just broke it though.
Oh.
Well, I went all the way through.
Yeah.
Second step was cutting out the old subframe, the top of the subframe.
So do you want to cut here then?
Yeah, that's perfect. Do you want me to do that with the wheel? That'd be easier because
It'll take me 2 seconds to do it.
come across though.
This is a sharp blade. I can do it in 2 seconds.
Did it?
You ready? Dude, look, you could put another 4 cylinders right here.
Come on.
I mean, this is a V8 song.
And then the third step was cutting out all the random bent that still sat on the passenger side.
Nice. What we're thinking of doing is our top bar across the top will pinch into this hole, so we'll use plates on either side and pinch it, build the bar across the top, so I don't think we need any of this.
Easy, I gotta get past
There you
that.
go. I never thought I'd see the Miata so bare. This is Sam's favorite day because we're basically letting him run wild with his Sawzall. So at this point, we're just gonna match the cuts we made on the other side to this side.
Really?
Nice. Wow. That happened a lot faster than I thought. Oh, family photo.
Get closer, Ben. That's a pretty good picture.
Basically, what we have to do is I'm gonna go and create brackets for the edges of the Miata here to actually mount the bar we're gonna create for the bumper mount. And then what Ben is gonna do is Ben is gonna cut pipe, one pipe across the top here that is 10 inches back from the fender bolt and 4 inches up from this point here. He's gonna make that bar come across, and he's gonna make 2 bars that go right here and right there on that side with 45-degree angles cut in them.
And I gotta create the 3 bars that come up.
Yep.
14:30 seconds. Just do 16:30.
No, 14/8.
14/8.
14/8 is what?
1 6/8, 1 3/4.
1 3/4. Perfect. So 7/8. So we're gonna go to basically 2 and 7/8. That's the middle of the bar. So the middle of the bar to here. So that's middle of the bar here to middle of the bar there. So actually goes need to go this way. So obviously this is gonna be in the way, but give or take, this bar needs to be about 8 inches.
And let's do a little extra.
I make 2 9-inch bars,
And then
notch one side, and then well 3 8-inch bar, 3 9-inch bars.
Right.
Notch one side of every bar. We
And
put them
then-
in place, then we cut them down depending on where we are. Make
12
them
inch a foot.
Make them a 11. Make them a foot. Fine.
Because we need
Make
the
two-
45. We need extra change for the 45
Yeah.
degree. 10 inch. Okay. That's close enough. That's our first 12er.
Nice foot long tube you got there.
Your hat's not
Oh, I'll
in
do
it.
a
Kind of
little.
do this a little bit.
There you go.
All right, our first of the 3 pipes that come vertically off the bash bar to support our second bar are all cut to 9 inches. Now we have to notch the ends of them so that we can weld it to our bash bar. Here we go. Hold on, let me get your lube ready.
You should for sure be wearing a mask.
Woo!
So we do this one we have here. We'll find the measurement. Once we find the measurement of this thing, we'll make them all exactly the same. We only have to find one, and then once we find one, we can find all.
So are you prioritizing your plates right now?
I'm saying we're about ready to mount them anyway, so why don't we mount them?
Okay.
So basically, this thing, we're gonna do something like this. That is not a 90-degree angle as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Could do something like that, but I just want to be as structural as possible.
Right. That's not very structural.
No, this is not. Well, because what I was, my plan was to do this.
I know.
And then, I mean, we could just flat bar this to this. Like, do the other bar here, which is a plan in the first. That's maybe a little big, so basically put a bar here. But that's only just mounted to this one floppy piece of metal.
Well, this brings me back to the concept of, man, what does this bring us back to?
You could just make the bars that go from this thing.
Yeah, what
so
if we do this?
for now.
Oh, the stacks.
For now.
I think that's easiest, right? Plate, weld the tube, bolt the plate here in the future. Like we pinch the plate here with bolts.
Okay.
That way we have the vertical support that we had talked about, and then we just run our tube.
That's fine. I think that's perfectly okay. I think that means we have to notch some longer pieces, and then cut them off where basically the notch piece, cut it, notch piece, and cut it
For this.
for that.
Those are shorties.
Yeah, we have to notch them first.
We basically
they're
have to
so
make,
short.
we basically have to make these again.
Yeah.
Without the bends.
Exactly. We could do that.
We can do that. I think we can do that. Like how far this needs to come off, that length to come off.
So
we just
this
need
we
to-
make sure we have enough.
We have an
we
inch clearance, and then
without
what?
that bolting there, an
Right.
inch clearance there to come up.
Right. And an inch back is not too close to our headlight. So
Because this is where the pole has to sit, right? This is where it has to sit.
right. On that.
So it has to move. Yeah, I think we can.
Well, because the structural integrity here will be sound because you're pushing down on the frame at that point.
Yeah, but
So
a bumper. So
that's
the ways a
fine.
bumper move. You have a couple ways a bumper moves. So you have a bumper moves when you back up under something, it moves this way.
Right.
And when you have a bumper that goes over something, it goes this way.
Right.
So these are the forces I'm really thinking of. The top and down forces is just you putting your foot on it, but the actual top and down force I'm not as worried about. I'm more worried about like the actual pulling and pushing forces, and that's why I was worried about just mounting it with these bars. Is because that pulling and pushing forces of this, either pushing this way or pulling this way, I don't think it would come off, but it's more likely for.
I don't think it would catch on anything, would it?
We can just cut that piece and then just mount it there, and then figure out how to do it. Anything else past that point?
You mean do the 3 bars and just mount
Just
that
do
bar?
one bar for now, or maybe two. Maybe do 2 of them,
Okay.
and then we do.
The bar across, and then we figure out our pucks.
Yeah.
Okay. It's day 3, we're out here. Day 4, maybe. We had to redesign our project for the 15th time, so right now Sam is setting up to cut this pipe so that we are able to create stilts to hold this tubing up and across while we create our 3 bars up and eventual mounting points to the subframe. Let's get it.
Okay.
Should I just do the other end? That we can make 2 cuts at once. We can make 1 cut here and then make
That's
1
a
cut here.
great idea. All right, let's check some measurements. We marked our 2-inch mark on this, so we'd have a flat plane. Laid it out, marked it on the tube. Sam has his Sawzall. He says, no, that's your favorite tool. I can't take that. Can't take that from you. That's not that bad.
That's pretty flat. Okay, 1 more.
Yeah. Chink them like wine glasses. Nice. Keep coming, keep coming, keep. That's it.
So this is what our next thing is, which is this angle here.
Where we at? Looking, Captain.
Middle?
It points on, yeah, middle. I would come up a touch, a teeny touch. Yeah, that's middle.
65 degrees.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. 65 degrees. Magic number.
Good number.
So we need to.
Can we bend to 65 degrees? What's that? What's this?
Oh, that's
probably like
well
40.
less than 65
Yeah.
degrees.
cut
No, we
two.
can make a cut.
I just don't know that you've said it and I've envisioned it. I'm just like, okay, wow, let's do it. Of our other
So wait. Processing.
Yeah.
Beep 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 boop beep beep boop boop. We can make this really easy or make it really hard. Which one do you want to do? One looks cooler, one doesn't look cool. So one, we just make a straight pipe with a cut this way on it. Boring as f. The other thing we do is we do a 32.5 degree angle. And we do 2 of them, and so it's actually a wedge, and then you weld that. Straight
Yeah,
pipe here
I
with a
like
wedge.
I like the wedge idea.
We fuck up slowly. This isn't a 65 degree angle. This is 100.
It's the reverse.
This is a 115 degree angle.
So you need 2 57.5 angles. It looks good, bro.
So we'll do this one here, and at some point we're gonna put that thing on it,
Yeah. So we gotta
Here-ish.
trim this down.
and then we're gonna go straight across that. Basically, pipe comes up from here.
Wait, what the fuck?
Well, you have to go angle to angle, don't you?
Yes.
What if we just angle this too?
Yeah, that's all you gotta
Well,
do.
that was that easy. That was the other option.
I'm saying let's do that one.
Okay.
We angle this tube, we make the angled cupped tube for this, we're done.
Okay.
Dude, we're idiots. Check her out. So our angle is correct, we've all confirmed that.
No, it's not.
They both might need to be a little bit longer, though.
The angle's not correct.
Honestly, it looks like they would both be longer.
The angles, it looks correct to me. It looks like whenever you set them both, like on the lips, like on those rounded edges.
Yeah. Well,
I have a question.
we fucked up because we went off the length. Yeah.
When we were going off the yellow thing, did you guys make this the middle of the pipe?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Because the middle is this whole thing.
Oh, that tube's just smoking, eh?
Why is that 150 degrees? I guess technically we could do an 80 degree angle on the other one. As long as it adds up to 85. It just, one's gonna be need to be shorter now than the other one, which makes a whole nother. We drew our angle on it. It is that angle. It's just the angle we drew. We like did it. I think when I gave it to you, I might have given it to you at 70 instead of 75, I guess. I would say let's cut one more out of the one we already notched, and we'll look at it. And if it looks like it's close, then we just know that we were off on this one by a little bit. It's your choice, though.
Let's do it. Let's cut it. Let's do it, baby.
Just double and triple confirming that this is at 75 degrees. 75. Well, it's long.
Our first one we really complicated, our first middle piece, because it was our very first time ever doing this. But eventually we got our tube out, we cut the angles in the tubing that we needed, we notched both ends of it, and we fit it onto the car.
Just gonna touch it, okay?
Let's go, Sam. Let's go, Ben.
See if take one for the team, boys. Okay, and maybe move your thumb.
Oh, I have a good idea.
Oh yeah, pry it in there. Okay. All right, close your eyes. Push. Welding.
Do you want to test fit it also?
So should we test this now?
I guess.
That looks like money.
There's about a half-inch gap on either side on this side.
Oh, I can chew off a lot on the other side.
Is that straight?
Just
Looking straight down. So it needs to move this way. That?
Yeah, it's to your left.
Right there.
Okay. That's straight.
Yep.
Guys, how the f is this happening? How did we do this? I have no idea. Yep, it's filling in.
Okay.
Holy shit, bro. It's there.
Yep.
I say this is a dub for the day, boys.
So at the end of this fourth-ish, whatever, day, we had a bash bar mounted to the Miata, fully mounted. We had a center nose piece off the bash bar connected to the subframe bar, sitting on 2 pucks, all straight. So then we came back, and this was the most exciting day. So we showed up for that last day with a very concise plan, cut pipe, welded on the ends, boom, whole structure's complete.
Basically at 75. Look at
Close.
You're very close. You're like
72 and a half.
Yeah.
Cool.
What do you think, Sam?
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, boy. Bro,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Other than this one's fucking perfect.
That's fine. They don't need to know about that.
Get your gloves. Oh, you want gloves on? Here.
Do you want to trim off the top one a bit, just so you keep it even?
That is there. It's the bar. So this is eventually going to be our jack point. It's gonna notch this, so this is the thicker walled stuff. This is the bigger stuff. That way, there's plenty of support for us to use as a jack point.
Welding.
Tied together.
Woo!
Bro,
This thing.
Holy shit! You don't need to call an expert. Just go to Harbor Freight. Spend $1,800 and do it your fucking self.
Final step was building a triangular piece on the bottom as a jack point.
so do you want me to do slightly less on both sides?
Slightly. Basically, you just want to go slightly less overall. Yeah. So between the two.
Gotcha. All right, and here we go.
Tack these in, boy. Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, bro.
Dude,
I can't believe this, bro.
thing won't focus, but it's here.
I truly
It's here.
cannot believe that we made this whole thing. I'm on my mic.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, you ready?
Okay, pull it off the little baby Miata. Dude.
Yo, bro,
Dude.
this is our first ever made piece.
Look at that thing.
How does it look? I can't tell.
It looks great.
Yeah. Woo!
All you need is $1,600 and a Harbor Freight in your local neighborhood.
Hell yeah.
Like and subscribe. You made it this far. You might as well do it. We'll see you on the next video.